Oh, okay. Pop-Tarts and eggs. One of the two most common things someone may eat in breakfast. And me, I'm about to show you guys an abomination I created called a Pop-Tart egg sandwich. Though I will be calling this egg tart for short, even though I believe it has another term for it. But yeah, that's what I usually call it. So I created this. My name is Chef Sebastian. And if you like to try the most randomest thing, then oh boy, I got the most randomest thing for you guys to try. I created this abomination on January 26, 2019. The only reason why I remember this though is because I created it, I posted this on Instagram, and I don't even know why I made it. It was just something that came up in my head. And so before we get started, let me show you guys all the ingredients all the materials that guys will be needing. So of course, y'all guys will be needing a pan, a spatula to mix the eggs, a plate to put the final endings on it, a bowl to put your eggs in there, 2 eggs, salt and pepper, some cheese. Though usually I use shredded cheese, but all we have is this block of cheese, and then you'll be needing to use a cheese grater for this. And then a fork to mix your eggs in the bowl, and then butter for the pan. And so now you guys know all the ingredients. Let me. Oh, and then also the Pop-Tarts. You can choose any type of Pop-Tarts you want. No, we'll be using blueberries. You know, you use strawberries, but it doesn't really matter. It really prefers your preferences. And then also a toaster to cook your Pop-Tarts with. And so now that you guys know all the materials, let's get started. So what you have to do first is heat up your pan. Well, actually, you gotta get your sanitize and wash your hands. So once you guys wash your hands, cook down washing your hands, and then dry them off. We got some napkins right here. Once that's done, you guys can start. So now what y'all can do is put your pan on the stove, and then turn on the stove at a low medium heat, not too high, not too low, just good enough. So once that heating up, you can now make your eggs. So what you can do, cut 2 eggs, put it in this bowl. 1, 2. Grab your salt and pepper. Not too much, just a little bit. Salt has a good kick to it. And then your pepper. Put a little bit in there. And then once that's set up, you can start mixing it until it's good, evenly mixed. And I'll be showing you guys soon what it should look like. Now it should be looking like something like this. Looks like this. And now what you guys can do is shred the cheese. Though I shredded the cheese beforehand to save some time. So now with your cheese is either, if you already have shredded cheese, grab like not so much, just a good amount, put it in there. Or if you have a cheese grater, I have a little component right here. I can open it and let all the cheese out. Okay. Oh, figure it out. Type it out like this. What you're going to do now is start mixing it now until the cheese is evenly spread into the eggs. Make sure that all the cheese cover the eggs. Though yes, cheese is optional, so if you guys can't handle cheese, lactose intolerant in it, that is completely fine. Doesn't make a difference. It just makes the eggs more cheesy. Now, the reason why I do put the cheese in my eggs like this, though, is because I like to have my cheese evenly spread inside my eggs. Because if you just put it on top, sometimes you'll have uneven amounts of cheese, and some of the cheese will be burnt, and then some will be not cooked enough. So yeah, it should look like something like this. Once you guys are done, you can now check to see if your pan's hot. Usually what I usually check to do is I grab a little bit of water and then I put it on my pan. If you don't use seasoning, that way it's not hot enough, so you can put a little bit up, just a tad bit, let it heat up a little bit. Try again. Got some more water. I don't know if you guys hear the seasoning, but if you hear seasoning, that's saying you know it's hot enough. That's not what you can do now. Grab your spatula and your butter. You don't have to put in a lot of butter just to get enough melt. I usually have this much. And now what I usually do is just dump it inside the pan and just evenly spread your butter on the pan. Because you do not want your cheese to get stuck on your pan. I mean your eggs to get stuck in your pan, because that would just suck. And so once your butter is evenly spread on the pan, you can now put your components that's in the bowl inside of the pan. Just like this. And now let's start cooking. And then you don't want to mix too fast, but not too slow, so just at a regular speed. Something like this. And if you see if it's taking a little bit slow, you can turn it up a little bit higher. Though it should be fine enough like this. It should be hot enough. And just keep mixing it a little bit slow, regular speed. Make sure you get it all in there, mixing up every single thing in here. Get it from the side because the egg will stick to the side. Just scrape it off. Continue mixing. There you don't want it to be burning. Okay. So now once your eggs is a little bit cooked, now what you can do now is grab your Pop-Tarts. And so our toast is a little bit fancy, so you have to adjust it a little bit. So I have it on sweet or whatever you guys have it on, normal. And open your bag. And I like to have mine a little bit crispy. So I have this one on 5, which is from 7. And then put your Pop-Tarts in here and just let it cook from here. Let that heat up, and then you can come back to your eggs and continue cooking it until fully cooked. That way your eggs are still warm when your Pop-Tarts cooking. And then you want to cook your Pop-Tarts while your eggs are still cooking, so your Pop-Tarts can also be warm. Because who likes to eat cold Pop-Tarts? That's not the most appetizing thing for me. No, that's y'all. Your eggs should be looking something like this. Continue mixing. And then your eggs should be fully cooked. Let that cool off a little bit. Turn off your stove. And just set it off to the side where nothing will catch on fire. And now what you can do is grab your plate and bring it over here and wait for your Pop-Tarts to cook. Yeah. Might take a little bit. So while we're waiting, let me tell you guys why I made it and the reason why this is important for me. So the reason why I made it, as I mentioned before, it was just the most randomest thing I thought of for in the morning for breakfast. I saw some eggs, some Pop-Tarts. I'm like, you know what? Let me try it. Let me see how it goes. And so for me, it was a decent taste. And then I got other friends to try it, and they said it was oddly good. And then that it had a sweet and salty taste. And so the reason why it's important for me though is, well, it's not really important, it was just for fun, so it doesn't matter if you guys bachelor or not. I don't even eat it that much either. I only ate it like 3 times before making it this fourth one for y'all. And then that's really about it, yeah. Now that your Pop-Tarts done, you can get your first one. Careful, it might be a little bit hot. Now put the plain pot on top. What you can do is grab your pan with the eggs, scoop up the eggs. Now you want to be careful because they might fall off. And just slowly put it on top of your Pop-Tart. Now that may be extra eggs, so they might fall off. So what you can do is just put them off to the sides, or leave it in the pan, or give it to someone else. And boom. And now what you can do now, you grab your plate, bring it over here to the toaster, then get your other pot, Pop-Tart number 2. Might be a little bit hot still, so be careful. And carefully place this on top, and boom. You guys have your egg tart sandwich. And that's really it. And so, congrats, you guys made your egg tart sandwich. And if you guys do want to try this, I'm kind of curious how you guys think about it. If you do, give it a rating from 1 to 10. And I want to thank you all for listening. And I will be signing off for tonight while eating this abomination. And you guys have a good night.